Go.
Hello. No, not hello. What up?
Hello, hello,
What's
hello.
good? All right. Yo, what's good? My name is Davalous. Davalous Wynn, actually. And I'm currently becoming a rapper. In like 2016, I actually started writing poetry for the first time. And it wasn't specifically to rap it out loud. It was more so because I had a lot of emotions that I was kind of like holding in. You know, I was in college at the time as well. So it was kind of like frustrations from college. There was frustrations from, you know, just like my life in general. At the time, you know, I was kind of like away from my family. I was away from my girl at the time. I was going through like this breakup, and you know, I'm sure you guys have probably dealt with that before. And so that kind of put me in a place where I was just a little bit flustered internally, right? And so at the time, like I had just started to like watch interviews of like other artists and other musical artists, and kind of just seeing how they dealt with like their trials or their hard times in life, just those rough patches that we all go through. And basically it was like either it's gonna like you're gonna like allow it to break you, right? Like you're gonna like allow it to just like overtake you and really control how you feel on a daily basis, or you could do something about it and like take control back, really. I realized that like, you know, I was dealing with the emotions. I was like, okay, like what do I do with the emotions, right? And I was always good at writing, like when it pertains to school, like writing an essay or like a book report or something like that. And but I had never tried to write in an artistic way until this moment, right? And that's kind of when I like just started writing like little poems, you know, just kind of like whether it was about what I was dealing with or just like a perspective that I had, you know. And I had always appreciated rap. I always loved hip hop, you know, it's kind of like my favorite genre of music. Even though I do listen to like other things, I'm not a huge music head, and that's the one thing that I don't have, or that's like not on my side when it comes to like the experience in music. Like there's so many people that I know that have this wide verse or wide, like, what's the word I'm looking for? They just have like a variety of music that they know and like that they listen to, and they can like plug different things from like different genres of music. And I don't listen to a lot of music, but I will listen to anything, if that makes sense. So when I was writing those poems back in 2016, it wasn't for the purpose of rapping. It was just for the sole purpose of expressing myself and kind of getting those emotions I was talking about out of me. It was it was about getting those emotions out of me, right? Like I feel like as people, we could hold in so much, right? And that could be a really bad thing if you're not taking care of yourself, just on a like a mental level, spiritual level. You know, you don't want to hold in a lot of things that make you feel a certain way, because it's just kind of like, you know, like if we're relating it to real life, you know, like if it's kind of like a trash can or something like that, like of that nature. Like you pile a bunch of trash, it's gonna start to smell, it's gonna overflow, it just don't look right, you know what I'm saying? So I had to I had to come to a point where I was getting mad at myself for feeling how I was feeling and letting outside things control who I was and how I felt. And I had to kind of just become my own person again, or find myself. And I found myself through writing. So I think the first thing that I wrote artistically was poetry about feelings that I had for a female. And it was kind of like a domino effect after that, you know, it was a release, you know, it felt good to write it, even though what I was writing probably, like if you read it, it was like, oh, this guy's probably in pain or hurting or something. But the paradox there is that but it felt great and positive to write it and release it. You know, Oprah said once that like writing, I don't know the exact quote, but she was just like, you know, writing is therapeutic and writing is powerful, you know. And all successful people say that too. It's just like, write down whatever, write down your dreams, write down your goals, write down your aspirations, write down anything you want to become real in like real time and like into reality, you know. So yeah, I was writing about love, and then, you know, that just transpired into me thinking more and thinking clearer. So I was able to form perspectives and use the experience of the relationship, of the breakup, use the experience to build build a couple things, build like my mental capacity, because it's like, okay, if I can go through that and make it out of that, you know, Kanye said once, you know, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. I think he got that from somebody else, because the sample said that, but he made it popular, right? What doesn't kill you make you stronger, you know? So whatever you're going through, whatever you're doing in life, you know, whether it's like being a parent or being a student, you know, I was a student at the time as well, so it's not like I was just frustrated from a relationship. I was also frustrated from like school and waking up every morning and doing the same thing over and over again. You know, like as an artist, the one thing that artists, like the one freedom that artists have is that they can do whatever they want, right? They can make whatever they want. They can paint, they can write, they can sing, they can draw, they can like orchestrate, architize. I don't think architize is a word, but like, you know, like being like an architect, structure, design, you know, those are all things that I'm into. So the writing just had to do with all of that, you know, just kind of shaping who I was and who I was becoming. Shout out to Ricki and the podcast. So I chose sociology because I liked it. And I went to Barry University in Miami, Florida. And it was just a great experience, you know. That's where I found myself as a young man. I found myself as an artist. And I also found myself just more so in like the social world. You know, like I've always been able to speak, but as far as being social and networking and developing relationships and understanding people, you know, being in Miami, there's so many different types of people, you know, it doesn't matter what part of Miami you're in. And so just being around all of that, in Miami was just great for me in my maturation. So I finished all my core classes in like 3 years of sociology. So the last year, like I went to my advisor and I'm like, yo, she was like, yo, like you're like done with all your sociology courses, but you know, you still have 2 semesters left. Like you can really just like do whatever you want. And at the time I had 2 friends that had a theater company, and they would do these shows on campus. You know, they were both from New York, but one of them was an actor at the school, and he had awards for like being best actor in the whole college and everything like that. So these were two extremely talented individuals, and they took me under their wing early. I would go to their rehearsals. So I just like I was thrusted into the world of theater, acting, performance, and they really just took me under their wing and let me come to rehearsals. And so I learned directing. I learned all the dynamics of what goes into a show, all the dynamics of what goes into a great performance just as an actor. So the show encompasses everything. It's like, preparation, the writing, learning lines, learning character, getting into character, and then so I was just around that type of energy like every week, so that kind of built in me, just kind of like the art of performing. That's where I had aspirations of becoming like a director, and writing, and all these things were just in one, and I was just like immersed in it. But I wasn't necessarily the one that was doing it. I was just, again, taken under the wings of, I guess I'll shout them out. Like, can I shout out people?
Yeah.
My guys, Marquise Rogers and Durham Bennett. They go by Keese and Durham though. Two members of Blackheart. They're a group. I'm not sure if they still do the group now. Keese is kind of like ventured off into like a solo artist. Durham's doing this real estate stuff. So shout out to those guys. I love you guys. You guys did amazing things for yourselves, but also you impacted my life into what I'm doing right now. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, so that's where I was thrusted into the theater world. They introduced me to a guy by the name of John Manzelli, who was one of the leaders of the theater department at my college. And he was also the mentor of Marquise. And they was like, yo, like if you wanna learn about this, you gotta take his courses, like take his classes. And so that's basically what happened. Like I went to my classroom, I'm like, yo, hook me up with John Manzelli. I need to get in his class ASAP. Did that. And then me and John created a relationship, and we really built this really strong foundation of what mentor-mentee really is. He's not just a professor, but he's also an actor, a director, a writer. He's been in multiple screenplays. He's worked with Dave Chappelle on the Chappelle Show. He's been in a few movies. He's currently, when I was in college, he was currently doing small movies and TV roles. He would just like one random day in class, like pull up a clip of some TV show, and we would think we were just watching it for like reference or something, and then we'll see him on the screen. It's just like, but he was that type of guy. He was extremely humble. Like we didn't know any of this stuff. And he would kind of just like casually let us into his life and all the things that he was great at. So he took me under his wing, and he just really taught me about. He taught me so much. Everything there is to know about performance, vocalizing. Being able to snap into a character. He was just a phenomenal person. John, I love you so much. Thank you for like everything you share with me. But John also was the person that saw something in me that I maybe saw in myself, but I was maybe kind of shunning it a little bit. But he brought something out of me that has led me to where I am right now. This day in class, he was like, yo, we're gonna have lunch. Let me know when. And then we did it like the next week, and so we're sitting and we're eating, and he's like, yo, look, like I feel like you have more of a story to tell. Like I feel like there's something inside of you that I want to give you a platform to like release it, So he's like, you can, like, I'm gonna give you 2 hours like one night we're gonna do like, there's gonna be a performance and it's just gonna be you. And he was like, you can write another spoken word and do spoken word the whole time. You can write a play. I'll give you actors, whatever you want to do. I'm giving you the platform to do it. This will be what you do for the course, but also I feel like this is something that you might like. And it was like the greatest thing ever, because that summer before that semester, I told my best friend, I'm like, yo man, like I really like this theater stuff. Like I want to maybe even own like an amphitheater one day and write plays and do screenplay and film and stuff like that. I remember having that conversation with him, and so that was always something that was in me. And so for him to see that in me, see like a director, see a performer in me, and give me the creative freedom and platform, like for an artist, the greatest words ever are, here's your platform, do whatever you want with it. Not like, here's your platform plus a box that I'm gonna put you in. You know, he was all about like not putting me in a box for that specifically. It's like, I'm just gonna let you figure out what it is. At this time, it was like September. He was like, we'll do it in November. We'll just pick a day in November and do it then. And I was like, fine, bet, say no more. During the time, like during this time leading up to November, I was just really in the theater world. You know, I was like going to plays, going to rehearsals that he was directing. Like he was directing these like musicals at the university with all these high level actors and actresses and singers and just overall performers, dancers and everything. So I was just with him for the next 2 months, learning everything that I needed to know, because I didn't realize, you know, to put on a theater show, it's extremely hard, dedicated work. You know, they practice every single day for hours, you know, 5 hours minimum. You know, and some days it could go to like 10 hours, right? So like I had my 2 friends that had the theater company, and I was under their wing doing rehearsals and stuff with them, and then now I'm with like the guy, you know, and just studying under him and watching how he directs and watching how he pushes his actors and how he draws that thing out of them, that thing, like whatever that thing is, like whatever that performance, whatever that character is, you know, like he can literally get it out of you, but he does it in a way that's just, it's almost like divine, you know, he's like a god. So 2 months I studied with him, and I wrote a play about my life at the time. And so the play was going to be a part of the show that I was constructing, right? He gave me actors for that. And then also, the play was like the last thing in the show. Leading up to the show, there was just some spoken words that like I did one, and then I knew artists that wanted to do spoken word or that wanted to be on a stage. You know, I had talked to them about it, and so like I just plugged in different people and kind of just like orchestrated this spoken word thing. And like I had this one girl that was in my acting class. She had this monologue. We all had to do monologues, but she had this one that was just like fantastic. Her name is Rain. Rain, I don't remember your last name, Rain. I don't even know if you'll ever see this, Rain, but I'm sure you're still extremely phenomenal. You're so gifted. And that monologue still to this day, like I can see it visually. And I just remember the effect that it had when you did it in class. And then I actually do the same one in my show, and you said no, you said yes with no hesitation. And you did it, and that just touched so many people. So I hope you're doing well, Rain. But so yeah, like I just orchestrated and plugged in these different things. Just as a director, it was kind of like my first time doing something like that. And the moment when I realized it was real, the night before the show, or maybe a couple nights before the show, you know, like I had, I forget what they call them, but just like the people that do the lights and the sound and all that stuff. Like she came to me with like a clipboard, and I was sitting down and they were practicing. She came and she sat down next to me and she was like, "Hey, when this happens, what color do you want the lights to be? And what do you want the lights to do here? And what colors do you like?" Just questions that I'd never even like imagined being asked, or just things that were included that was a part of this that I didn't even know about, right? And so that was just a really cool moment, you know, just kind of like structuring lights and order, and really like directing was like was an extreme privilege at that point. But you know, like I just realized that it was just something that I was meant to do, you know. I never saw myself as a music artist. I was just a new becoming artist, so I just wanted to learn everything about everything at that point, whether it was directing, acting, writing,
Right.
everything in between.
Okay.
But personally, growing up, I always wanted to be like a clothing designer. So a little bit of directing that goes into that, but not directing specifically. But, you know, I was given the opportunity to do it, and I was like, yo, this is like amazing, you know. So I graduated in December, and I came back home to Orlando, and I was so mentally drained after I graduated college, which was a big accomplishment, by the way, for me and for my family, more so for my grandfather. Shout out to my grandfather, Wynn. I did it for you, dog. But that shit was draining, bruh. And when I came home, I was like, I don't want to go into corporate world right now. I don't want to do no jobs. I don't want to do nothing but breathe, relax, calm my mind, free my mind. And that's what I did for like 7-8 months. I did some Ubering here and there, but I was really just kind of working on like business plans, business models, still working on my art, and just kind of molding myself, because I knew that eventually I was going to be thrusted into just the work world, the workforce, corporate world. And you know, in August of 2017 was when I started working for the company that I work for now. It's a photography-based company, but it really incorporates all different types of art. So before I started working here, like I'm a professional photographer now because of the job that I have. Before I started working this job, I had no idea how cameras worked. I wasn't a camera person. I wasn't a photographer. I had a blog that I would write and take pictures with my iPhone, and I would post things on there. And so I knew how to frame things. Like I knew how to like make an image look great. But as far as like being technical with it, with actual Canon camera and everything like that, and the lenses, and learning all the technicalities of how the camera works, I had no idea about any of that stuff. So I've been immersed in that world, in this world, for a total of maybe like 38 months now, 3 years. And you know, it's just taught me everything that I need to know about visual art when it comes to photographing. The first couple months that I was with the job is when I started to play around with film. I started to like make my own really short, small films. Like I did it all with my iPhone. You know, I would just, like, we were traveling, so I would just take clips of like things that I saw, really just random things. And I started to fuse those clips together, making like mashups, like mashup 1 minute films, specifically to like post on Instagram. So it's like I made my Instagram into like an art page, right? So I was like, that's when I just started to edit film and see the world through like a film lens, just with the perspective of that. And so at that point, it's like everything became art to me. Like everything became important enough to be captured. When you have like a knack for performing and touching people, and like being someone that people can relate to, or someone can see you doing something, and just having an effect on people. Like I want to affect as many people as possible with my gifts, whether it's writing or performing or whatever it is, whether it's a film or just a perspective. A conversation is my favorite thing, honestly. I love to have conversations. That's probably the one thing that I'm like best at, other than all the other things I've been talking about. But yeah, just like I want to affect as many people as possible, and so film, I found that in film, I found that using my voice, and matching the two together, people see it, and that in itself starts a conversation that can spark people, that can spark anything, so that was kind of in 2017 is when I started to play around with film and play around with my voice. I think without these last 3 years, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now, which is kind of just not being shy, not being camera shy, just being able to speak in front of people, and then performing, and now, like rapping, being able to do that. I'm still new at it. It's only been a year. I did 3 recordings. I made 3 different small short tracks in like a couple weeks span. And the place that I made it at was it was at a studio but it was like built inside of a house. But I only had access to that because one of my best friends, Mateo Beats, actually, shout out to him, I'm doing a lot of shout outs. I made 3 tracks with Mateo, and it was very promising, because for someone that's been in the rap music world game for as many years as he has, probably 10 plus years, for him to even take the time to work with me, but also to really kind of he heard it and he saw it, and he was like, yo, you could like make this into something, it's not just like some boom bap amateur thing, it's like, if this is your first time, then that's good for a first time. But after those 3, which happened in like 2 weeks, I didn't touch another microphone until months later. It was almost like a year later. It was this year of June, right? So I did 3 recordings a year ago, and then the 4th recording literally just happened a couple months ago. And so I'm still really extremely fresh. However, I'm not fresh as far as it comes to like performing and being on stage and writing. I've done it in other fields, and so now it's just about kind of fusing those worlds together. You know what I mean? Like, theater played a large role in my life and a large role in my development, and that type of stage presence and like directing played a huge role in my development as an artist. And so I'm able to take that information and that experience and bring it into the world of music, and that skill of writing with like scripts and plays and stuff like that, bringing that over into and like relating that to my real life now, and writing raps and learning how to do cadences and different flows and how to use my voice in certain ways. Randall helped me with that too. It's just like getting me to like freestyle. I'm the first to admit I am not a freestyler. at all. Like, I'm not even gonna play you guys. That's not me. But with the help of my boy, you know, just kind of like breaking me out of that shell and kind of just building the confidence as a rapper, you know, it's just like, it's not something that I take lightly. It's not also something that I just want to just be like, yeah, like I do that. No, I'm like, I'm fresh and I'm learning, but I'm grateful to have people around me that have been doing it. And like Brandon's been doing it 8, 9 years. He said he made his first song. He was 8 or like 11. You know what I mean? Like 11 years old. So you got like the prodigy over here. So I'm able to learn from like these extremely skilled and gifted people, which just helps me out. You know, writing a song out and not really just going in there with the words on my phone or on a notepad and like reading it off, but really like learning the song. However long that takes, a couple weeks, a month, and then being able to go in the booth, headphones on, and record it without having to read it. So you're really just like tapped into the song, like you're in tune with the whole vibe of it. And it's like it makes sense, you know. The first couple times I recorded was with like reading off of paper, and it's like whatever, it's cool, but there's a whole different vibe when you put the time in to learn it and rehearse it, and you can sit with it and you sit with the beat and you just know the whole vibe of it, and to be able to record from that perspective, that's like the difference between like, you know, if we're talking about acting, you got like these professional actors that can come in and they can like learn a whole script in a day or 2 days, literally. And so it's just that experience of just like, yo, I've done this enough where it doesn't take much, you know, like I don't have to force it. I go in, I learn my lines, I'm able to tap into the character, and then I go on my stage and I perform, or I go in the booth and record. You know, it's all intertwined. My first single, actually, that sounds surreal to say. I never thought I'd say some shit like that. I never wanted to really be a rapper. There's a stigma that comes with, like I'm already black, you know, so like the stigma is you're gonna rap, you're gonna play basketball, you're gonna play football, or you're gonna sell drugs.
True.
You only get a couple choices as far as what people think of you, right? My first single is coming out October 30th. It's called The Times. It's produced by my boy. His name is Abdius, but he goes by Abdigadig. I love you, bro. Abdigadig and Popcore are the two producers, the engineers, mixing, mastering, all that stuff is actually done. That song will be a part of a project that I'm working on. You call it an album. I want to call it an album. That's crazy, it is. But there's like different names for like albums now. I'm figuring out. It's like you got like the EP, you got the LP, mixtape, albums. Like I really just want to make albums. Yeah, you know. There's gonna be anywhere from like 6 to 8 tracks on there, and you know, that's kind of where we're moving into. You know, shout out to 613 Guild. That's fam over there. That's a collective that I'm able to be a part of right now. Who I make music with. We have our own producers and just equipment and stuff that we're able to like record on, and so there's not a lot of outsourcing going on. I'm very grateful for that. I know a lot of musicians right now, they have to like outsource all of their work and pay for a lot of things, but I just feel like, you know, God has always guided me in a way that allows me to be connected with people that help me, and I'm able to help them, and we're able to just make great things all across the board. So shout out 613 Guild, Abdigadig, Popcore, Desi, Anthony, my guy Garo Michi, Sumo, Jay. Love all you guys. Shout out to Ori too. You're great. But yeah, you know, and as far as me, my name is Davalous. And if you want to find me on social media, my Instagram is Davalous Renard. I'm on Twitter newly. I'm on Twitter. Follow me. I'll follow you back. It's Davalous W, Davalous W. And if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Davalous Wynn, Davalous Wynn. I don't really do all the other stuff. I'm not on Snapchat and TikTok and all that stuff. I just don't really got time for it. Thank you to my mom too, just for giving me such a unique name that I don't have to like make up some crazy rap name. You know, I could just use my actual first name, Davalous, which is amazing. Shout out to Renata Wynn. I appreciate you. I love you. And it seems like this is gonna be something that I look back on in like 10 years after we made it. It's just like I'm shouting out all these people and shit. But
Looks like we made it.
Hey Drizzy, I've been listening to you since '09. You're my favorite artist, bro. Not even gonna front. You're my favorite artist. Which you're my favorite artist.
Yo, Wheelchair Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Drizzy, Jay-Z too. I hope I get to meet Jay-Z for sure. He's the one person I want to meet. I just want to sit down and have a conversation with you, bro. Really appreciate you as a man, as an artist. You're my favorite rapper. Drake's my favorite artist, but Jay, you're my favorite rapper. I still listen to all your music right now. You're like, people get in my car and they're mad. Not because I'm playing Jay-Z, but it's just like, is Jay all you listen to?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah.
Yes.